Hi, my name's Yolanda Barker. I'm making triple chocolate brownies today. I've got my ingredients ready, so let's go. Here we are. I have my bowl ready and I have all my ingredients. But the first thing I like to do is to prepare the tin that I'm going to use. I use baking parchment. None of this greaseproof paper works. Baking parchment is the best. So I'm going to cut a bit to cover my tin. I'm using a Swiss roll style tin. This one happens to be a little bit bigger. Sometimes if you're using small Swiss roll tin, or some of the basic range tins are quite small, I would say use 2 tins and then you've got 2 lots of mixture, which actually I find works very well for when I've got people coming round, because I can say I've got one for the visitors and one for the family, which tends to get noshed the day before, it has to be said. My tin is lined and my oven is also on. This is on gas mark 4 or 150 degrees if you've got an electric oven. Mine's a fan assisted oven, if that helps. Next, what I need to do is to melt some chocolate. This is quite important to do because I need it to cool down before I add it to the other mixture. So I use the microwave. You can use the top of an oven, or the hob. What you need to do if you're using a hob is to have some boiling water and then have a pan that sits in the top but doesn't actually touch the water. That's a bain-marie. You pop that in and let it boil, and that will melt your chocolate and the butter. I'm using the microwave because I'm a cheat and it's easier and life's too short. So into my bowl is going to go 1 packet of milk chocolate and 1 packet of dark chocolate. These will be broken up into the bowl so that it can be melted. This is quite therapeutic actually, and I'm mindful not to take any of the chocolate and pop it in my mouth. I can't say the same for the white chocolate later because that usually gets me. And there's quite a bit in there, I don't think it really matters, just a little bit. But then I'm saving room for these gorgeous brownies. I like my brownies cold. I like them in the fridge. They go a bit gooey, but firm, and this is really tasty. So, I'll give my chocolate a mix. I need 225 grams of butter, which will also melt with the chocolate. So I shall weigh this out and I'll be back in a moment. Here I have the eggs and the caster sugar with the vanilla essence. I will now whiz this up, ready for action. I'm about to mix up the eggs and the sugar and the vanilla essence. Really good. I like to put a little bit of air into this because I know that the whole process will be that the air goes in and makes it light and fluffy. There you go. I now need to add the chocolate to the mixture. This is the chocolate that we melted earlier, 2 minutes in the microwave. This is going to be added to the mixture that I've just done. So I tend to add this in just gently to begin with and stir it around a bit. And this will make a nice chocolatey mixture. I'm going to make sure I've got everything out. My favourite thing is a silicone spatula. Best invention ever. Just clears the whole lot. No excuses. Although when you're making fairy cakes, that can be a bit of a pain because you've got nothing to give to the kids for afters. So as you've taken it all out, you put it all in the cake. Some would say that's a good thing. So I'll mix this around, and so it's fully mixed in. You can usually tell this because it's no longer swirly, and it's just one nice deep colour. Looks delicious. There, I don't know whether you can see it. I'll sure get that so that you can look at it properly in a moment. My mixture is now ready. Into this I will be adding the chopped white chocolate, which would help if I put it up the correct way. White chocolate, I have 2 of these. And I will also be adding in the flour. I'm ready with my chocolate. This is my white chocolate to go in. I'll save my bit for myself, just there. And then the rest is going to go into the bowl. I don't see the point of using more expensive chocolate in this. I've always used value stuff and cooking the triple chocolate brownies, and I've never ever had any complaints. Everyone's always wanted more. I think they're a really successful recipe and easy too. Right, I'm going to eat my bit of chocolate and give it a stir. I was always taught at school that when we're folding in flour, we use a metal spoon. So, here it goes. I'm never quite sure whether I'm folding or stirring, but I know that I'm increasing the amount of air that goes in. Again, this is the basic range flour that I'm using. Ultimately, I find it a very, very good product. And we're getting so close now to being able to put this into the oven. I can taste that chocolate. It smells delicious. There is my mixture. It is ready to go into the Swiss roll tin. So I'm ready to pour this into the tin. It's quite a sticky mixture, so you do sometimes get it over your hands. However, remember what I said about the fact that if you're using the basics tins, they are a little bit smaller, so you will need to use 2. I quite like that idea anyway, because I think that it means if one goes slightly wrong, the other one's got more chance. So I've popped that on. Now I'm going to use my spatula to get, as I said before, to get everything out, because you have to. Resist a huge chocolate brownie. I mean, this is really large, and I don't see any reason why you can't freeze some of it if it's not needed. Knowing if your family is like mine, it goes quite quickly anyway, and that's not just down mine. I also know that family, when they're coming, they hope that this has been made. My son's been asking me to make this for a few weeks, so he's rather excited to get hold of this afternoon. we're ready. What I would do is I will leave it in the baking tray to begin with so that it can cool down just a little bit. That way it means that it's not going to all fall apart completely. Looking delicious. I will now take this out of the pan so that it can cool down. I will leave it in the baking parchment just to keep the bottom all ready and solid, because what will happen is otherwise it will just sink through. There's a certain amount of cooking that will go ahead still whilst it's cooling down. I always leave it so that the middle is quite gooey because that's the way I like it. So it's quite likely this has not actually cooled down as much as it should. That's just because I couldn't resist. I'm going to sprinkle a small amount of icing sugar over the top. If you have a little sieve, this would be really good, which I have, but it's at the back of the cupboard and I'm not going to go and get it. So I've shown you what it looks like. This is before it's cut, because sometimes when it's cut it will break up. We quite like that, so it's not a uniform shape, but if it works and it cuts well, then we'll live in hope. I usually leave it on the baking parchment to cut up. I find that sometimes you can only cut the outside part of it now because it's probably might be too warm. But I'll give it a go and see whether it cuts. If I can't lift it off yet, at least it will actually tell me how many pieces I'm going to get. Again, I don't tend to do this uniformly, but sometimes some people want a bigger piece than others. So it's quite nice to treat some that like the bigger bits. Smelling delicious. I've managed to get 35 pieces out of my bake. I will let this cool a bit further so that then I can plate it up. And here we have our chocolate brownies. They look delicious. I'm ready to give them a go. So I've enjoyed making my triple chocolate brownies with you, and here they are completed, ready to be served with my family. I hope that you enjoy cooking them as much as I did, and I think for £3.30 to get at least 35 brownies is a jolly good price. Taste delicious. I've tried them already, sorry, and I know that everyone will really enjoy eating them. Look how they are. Beautiful. That's how the inside should look. Great with ice cream, perhaps. Perhaps you could have some strawberry sauce. It's endless as what you can do with them. But they are really, really scrummy. Thank you. Oh, really nice.